I walked into my local pawn shop the other day just to see if they had anything interesting, and I saw this amp sitting there. The asking price on it was $350, which already is a very good starting point of an asking price for me as a potential buyer. What we're looking at here is a 1968 Vibro Champ amp by Fender. On Reverb, these can get anywhere between like $600 and $900, I think, based on asking price and market values at the given time. So I was definitely interested in this amp. You don't see them every single day. So I turned the amp on and I started going through the kind of procedures of, does this amp work? Do I want to buy it? And as the amp warmed up, and as it begins to warm up, I'm pretty sure that you can hear, starting to pick up on the audio, that there's crackling that goes on. It sounds very fuzzy, and then as I tap the amp, you can hear that crackling taking place. I don't know a whole lot about amps, but I know that they shouldn't do that whenever you tap the top of them. So I haggled on the price a bit, willing to take something of a risk to get a nice vintage practice amp, hoping that the fix could be something cheap. Because while I don't know a whole lot about amps, I've got a buddy named Keelan that does know a lot about amps, that actually built me my main amp, my go-to amp that's sitting right there on the floor. I figured if I took this to him, he would probably have a pretty good idea of what I could do. So I ended up picking this up for $200, taking something of a risk. And my buddy decided it's probably just a tube. So as we tap these tubes, I'm trying to, yeah, I think it's that one right there. So you can tell that is not what an amp should do. And it's, the more I tap it, the more it crackles. So, I mean, that is probably the offender right there. So the game plan was buy a tube. I went online, bought a tube. I've not put it in there yet, but I'm fixing to put it in there, and hopefully that fixes the problem, and that leaves me with a nice 1968 practice amp, Vibro Champ, that I've got at my disposal from this point forward, hopefully at a really good price with a really easy, cheap fix that I can put on it. So to access the tubes, I want to take this guard off the back right here, which is a relatively simple procedure of just unscrewing these 4 screws. Okay, so these tubes are actually pretty warm still from me just warming it up to show you guys the fact that the amp is broken. I'm going to give these a second to cool down before I try to take this out and burn myself, and then we'll come back in just a second, take that tube out and see if it fixes the problem. Okay, so I ended up just grabbing the tube with a hand towel here so that I would not burn myself, and I pulled it out of the socket that you see there. Next, we'll end up taking our new tube, which I've not even taken out of the box yet. I really need to get a better setup here. I'm just holding my iPhone while I do this. That's not the most effective way of going about this, I don't think. All right, so brand new tube. I'm going to put it into there, and hopefully that fixes the problem. All right, so we've got the new tube in, old tube over there. New tube in, let's turn this thing around. Okay, so as it warms up, I'm not hearing that same crackling sound. So you can definitely hear a little bit of like the sound of an amp on 10. But I'm not getting that crackling anymore. Not getting that crackling at all, even with harder hits. If I turn the amp around, last time I turned it around, I felt like it was crackling the whole time. I don't get anything poppy or crackly out of that. I think it may be good to go. Let me plug a guitar into this thing and see what it sounds like. So the sound that you're picking up is just straight from my phone that's sitting over here across the room from the amp. But upon first listen, it sounds like that that tube fixed it. I do still hear a slight kind of fuzz in there. But not enough to get worried about. So I think that for 200 bucks, I've got a pretty decent little practice amp there that should just appreciate as time goes on.